Nobody ever told you this one protein trick that completely kills stubborn belly fat forever. I tested this myself, and the science behind it is shockingly strong and undeniably real. For years, we have been dieting, exercising, and counting calories like our entire lives depended on it. But here is the truth that nobody in the diet industry ever wants to say out loud. We have been seriously lied to, not directly, but by omission, and that has cost us real results. That omission has stolen so many people of their real results, their confidence, and their actual health. The evidence has been sitting right there in plain sight for a very long time already. It is not just that protein makes you feel full, because we already knew that simple part. What if there was one exact number that once hit completely shuts your appetite off entirely? A specific gram target where your brain finally says, "We are fully satisfied, right now, today." A point where your fat-burning systems automatically switch on and begin doing their full job. This is not something I made up or exaggerated just to get your attention right now. This is real science backed by real studies, and it genuinely changes everything for you today. Today, we are going to cover exactly how this works and why it stayed so hidden this long. We will talk about the study that discovered this and why it never surfaced widely enough. Then we'll cover how to time your protein intake and exactly how much you actually need. We will break down the real mechanisms so you deeply understand exactly why this works so powerfully. Then we will talk about how to squeeze even more results from this trick every single day. And then we are going to cover the workout wrench, because this one section is extremely critical. If you work out and get this wrong, it can literally make you gain fat instead of losing. I am not saying that to scare you or chase clicks. I am saying it because it is true. Finally, we will cover a couple of other foods your body responds to in the very same way. Stay with me through this whole thing, because every single section builds directly on the last one. Let us start with the study that somehow just never made it into the mainstream nutrition conversation. Researchers discovered something absolutely fascinating when they were studying animals and their eating patterns over long periods. They found that animals would keep eating and eating unless they reached a certain amount of protein. When animals were not getting enough protein, they would massively overeat carbs and fats to compensate. This observation made scientists wonder if the same exact pattern might also show up in humans. And when they studied humans, what they found was shockingly and remarkably similar to the animal results. If protein intake fell below a certain exact threshold, the appetite mechanisms would kick in extremely hard. Those mechanisms would drive the person to keep eating until that specific protein target was finally met. Imagine eating rice and bread all day and still feeling completely hungry no matter how much you eat. Your brain is not satisfied with the food volume. It is waiting for a specific protein amount. Your brain keeps sending hunger signals until you finally hit that exact protein number it is looking for. This is called the protein leverage hypothesis, and it is one of the most important nutrition discoveries ever. Why have we not been told this simple fact that could have saved us so much daily struggle? Why is it always just calories in and calories out, and nothing else ever beyond that point? That question honestly frustrates me more than I can properly put into words for you right now. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition published a study that drives this point home in a powerful way. They had humans eat the same number of calories, but split them into two very different protein groups. One group got 30% of their calories from protein, and the other group only got 15%. The 15% protein group ended up eating 441 more calories, despite starting equally. The higher protein group ate less overall and ended up losing about 13 more pounds of actual fat. That is not a small difference at all. That is a massive gap from just one single thing. It all comes down entirely to whether or not you hit that protein target your brain is craving. Based on large surveys of real humans, there is a very narrow band where this target consistently sits. It is remarkably consistent across different people, different body types, and very different activity levels throughout life. Low protein consistently and reliably drives appetite up and drives total calorie intake higher every single time. This is not a theory anymore. It is a well-documented pattern that plays out in real life. Think about every single diet you have ever tried and ask yourself why it eventually stopped working. You were eating less, moving more, doing everything right, and still the weight kept creeping right back. The answer was never your discipline or your effort. It was always your missing protein target number. When protein is low, your body enters a desperate search mode that you simply cannot consciously override. That desperation is hardwired and biological, and it will always overpower any amount of willpower you bring. Understanding this one simple thing changes the entire way you think about food, hunger, and fat loss. So now the big question becomes, how much protein do you actually need, and when do you eat it? The number found almost invariably across different studies and populations is about 0.6 to 0.7 grams. That is 0.6 to 0.7 grams of protein per pound of your body weight daily. This is not your daily recommended allowance from some government chart created many years ago at all. This is a biological appetite threshold that your body has always been silently waiting for you to hit. When you hit this number, your hypothalamus, your brain's control center, finally says, "We are completely satisfied." It stops cranking your appetite because it recognizes that the protein target has been fully met. So, what does this mean practically for you right now trying to finally lose that stubborn belly fat? It means getting that protein target in as early as possible each and every single day you wake up. The earlier you hit that target, the more natural control you will have over your daily appetite. Your brain settles down, your hunger quiets, and you stop being driven to overeat throughout the day. But when you are running low on protein, here is exactly what starts happening deep inside your body. Your hypothalamus recognizes there is an amino acid deficit and cranks your appetite way up immediately. Your liver detects that same protein deficit and starts pumping out something called FGF21 into your blood. FGF21 increases your appetite for protein even more on top of what the hypothalamus is already doing. Now, you might think that sounds fine. It just means you will crave chicken and eggs more. But here is the real problem, and why this matters so deeply for people trying to lose fat. More than 90% of people cannot distinguish what type of hunger they are actually feeling right now. Your body tells you it needs more protein, but your brain just reads it as general hunger instead. General, non-specific, all-consuming hunger that sends you straight toward whatever food is closest and most available. You end up eating more and more, completely out of control, and not understanding at all why it happens. You gain fat not because you were lazy or undisciplined, but because nobody ever told you this truth. That protein number existed your whole life, and absolutely nobody ever told you that it was even there. This is exactly why people fail diets repeatedly, not from lack of willpower, but from lack of real information. Now, let us talk about how to get more out of this and truly squeeze the maximum results possible. The first and most important thing you can do is get a big protein surge first thing every morning. Start your day with a high-protein meal that pushes you close to or past that threshold. Along with that morning protein, also include healthy fats because they help through the GLP-1 satiety mechanism. GLP-1 is a satiety hormone, and healthy fats in the morning help keep it elevated longer, all day. Think eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, quality meat, or a solid protein shake with some nuts alongside it. For lunch, go with a faster-absorbing protein source so you hit your daily target more quickly. Faster-absorbing protein means your brain gets that satisfied signal quicker before you start piling on extra food. This is especially important if you work a desk job or spend most of your day just sitting. Sedentary people need to be especially careful because their appetite signals can get really out of hand quickly. Now for your carbohydrates, here is a smart and strategic move that makes the whole system work better. Save your carb allocation for the evening meal, rather than spreading them throughout the entire day from morning. When you put carbs at the end of the day, you have already hit your protein target by then. Your appetite will be naturally lower at dinner because your brain is already fully satisfied from earlier meals. You will not overdo carbs, your blood sugar stays stable, and you will actually sleep so much better. Your insulin sensitivity stays intact, and you wake up the next morning completely primed to do it again. Another genuinely useful trick here is apple cider vinegar, and the reason it works is actually very interesting. Apple cider vinegar converts into something called acetate inside your body when you consume it before meals. Acetate can actually enter your mitochondria and be used as fuel instead of food being needed for energy. This gives your brain a small but real fuel signal that curbs your appetite in a meaningful way. It partially overrides that hunger drive because your cells are already getting some of what they actually need. Another simple and truly underrated trick is sodium, specifically getting enough high-quality salt throughout your whole day. Salt can override certain neurons in the brain and suppress appetite in a surprisingly effective, consistent way. Your body monitors its sodium levels in a very similar way to how it monitors protein levels daily. If sodium is low, your body ramps up your appetite until that sodium need finally gets completely satisfied. Getting enough sodium along with potassium and magnesium can calm those appetite signals down quite significantly every day. A good electrolyte mix in the morning or before meals is a simple, powerful appetite management tool. Now, I need to talk about something really important that a lot of people completely and totally get wrong. This is the workout wrench, and if you are exercising right now to lose fat, you cannot skip this. Most people are already in some kind of regular exercise routine right now, and that is truly great. But exercise, especially higher intensity cardio, changes the protein leverage equation in a way you absolutely must know. Research found that intense workouts temporarily raise your protein target significantly for the next couple of hours afterward. After a hard workout, your hypothalamus bumps up its required protein threshold and holds it there for a while. That means your body is now demanding even more protein than your normal daily baseline already requires. If you do not meet that temporarily elevated target, your appetite goes absolutely and completely out of control. You feel ravenous after cardio, you cannot stop eating, and you genuinely feel like something is seriously wrong. But nothing is wrong. Your body is just desperately trying to hit that elevated protein threshold right now. The problem is most people do not know this, so they eat whatever food they can quickly find. They eat carbs, snacks, processed foods, and end up consuming far more calories than they burned during exercise. They keep doing more and more cardio trying to lose belly fat and somehow always end up gaining more. It sounds completely crazy until you understand the protein leverage hypothesis, and then it makes total perfect sense. Within a couple of hours of your workout, you need to prioritize your protein intake very heavily right away. Add an extra 30 to 50 grams of protein on top of your normal daily target after each workout. This brings that temporarily elevated threshold back down and turns off that completely out of control appetite you feel. A useful trick here is to use essential amino acids, or EAAs, particularly around your workout period daily. The appetite spike from workouts appears to be largely driven by one specific amino acid called leucine. By taking EAAs rich in leucine, you can bring that elevated protein target back down much faster. EAAs post-workout can make a real noticeable difference in keeping your appetite controlled after intense sessions. This is the difference between cardio working powerfully for fat loss and cardio working completely against you. Now let us zoom out and talk about something even bigger that truly ties all of this together. Our bodies are basically programmed to stay hungry until every single important nutritional need has been properly met. We have seen this exact same pattern show up with another important nutrient beyond protein, which is calcium. Calcium works in a very similar way to protein when it comes to appetite and overall hunger regulation. If your body is not getting enough calcium, it will keep you hungry until that calcium need is satisfied. Calcium is essential for bone health, for metabolic function, and for the electrical signaling your cells constantly depend on. Your body is simply not going to let you ignore that need, and it will make you eat more. So, here is a really powerful strategy that gives you a genuine double advantage over your appetite signals. Combine high calcium foods with high protein foods, and you hit two of these leverage targets at once. Dairy products like cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, and good quality milk are absolutely perfect examples of this combination. Whey protein provides both protein and calcium in one very convenient, easy package that is very hard to beat. Sardines or mackerel eaten with the bones in are surprisingly powerful, giving you both calcium and protein together. These foods address both the protein leverage threshold and the calcium need at exactly the same time together. When both needs are met together, the appetite suppression effect is genuinely powerful and noticeably stronger than normal. This is one of the most underrated fat loss hacks in all of nutrition, and almost nobody talks about it. Now here is one more fascinating idea that is absolutely worth planting firmly in your mind right now today. What if your body was running a full internal nutrient scan every single day and keeping careful, detailed score? What if you were being driven to eat until every vitamin and mineral on that checklist was fully covered? If that is even partially true, then taking a high-quality multivitamin early in the morning could be powerful. Taking it first thing could check off many important nutrient boxes before your appetite even starts to build. Eating something like liver in the morning also gives you a very dense hit of vitamins and minerals early. Liver is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet and could genuinely help curb your appetite. The evidence is not fully complete yet, but the logic is very consistent with everything we have covered here. It is absolutely worth experimenting with and paying close attention to how your appetite responds throughout the day. Now let us bring all of this together and make sure you walk away with a very clear action plan. The protein leverage hypothesis is real. It is supported by solid science, and you absolutely must start using it. Your body has a minimum protein target of about 0.6 grams per pound of your total body weight. Until you hit that target, your brain will keep you hungry and will keep driving you to eat more. Getting your protein in early in the morning is the single most powerful move you can make today. Pair that morning protein with healthy fats to activate the GLP-1 satiety pathway and stay satisfied far longer. Use a fast-absorbing protein at lunch to quickly hit your target and prevent any afternoon overeating habits. Save your carbohydrates for the evening so your appetite is already under control before you sit down for dinner. Use apple cider vinegar before meals to generate acetate and give your cells a small but real fuel signal. Use a quality electrolyte with sodium to keep those appetite neurons quiet and your food cravings tightly controlled. If you work out, add 30 to 50 extra grams of protein within 2 hours of finishing your workout. Consider using EAAs around your workouts to blunt that temporary spike in protein demand that intense exercise always creates. Eat high calcium plus high protein foods together to double your appetite suppression and hit 2 targets at once. Consider taking a high-quality multivitamin early in the morning to cover your nutrient bases before hunger even builds. These are not random tips thrown together. They are all connected to the same fundamental principle of nutritional leverage. Your body stays hungry until every single one of its real nutritional needs has been completely and fully satisfied. When you work with that system instead of fighting it, fat loss becomes dramatically less of a daily battle. You are not fighting your cravings anymore because you have finally addressed the actual root cause behind all of them. This is the missing piece that calorie counting alone could never give you, and now you finally have it. Use it consistently, and you will be genuinely shocked at how much easier managing your appetite becomes over time. The belly fat does not stand a chance when your brain is no longer screaming at you to overeat. Start tomorrow morning with a high-protein, healthy fat breakfast and feel the real difference in your appetite by afternoon. You were never broken or undisciplined. You were simply missing one number, and now you finally have that number.